all my books just went on the floor. Well, I'll pick those up later. Hi guys, today I'm going to be filming my October wrap-up. The amount of books I read varies like a lot, so I managed to read I think 7 books this month, which is pretty good for me. Yeah, let's get started. So the first book that I managed to finish this month was A Dance with Dragons Part 2, After the Feast. I'm so happy to finally have finished A Dance with the Dragons. This was kind of a struggle for me. I was not in the mood for reading while I was reading this really, so I was kind of struggling to finish it, but I loved it. I loved all of the A Song of Ice and Fire books. This was just amazing. If you haven't checked out A Song of Ice and Fire or haven't watched Game of Thrones, then really you should. You're missing out. I love the high fantasy and like politics and everything that is in this, and the characters is just amazing. I know that the 5th book is kind of a build-up book, so the 6th book is probably going to be even more amazing, just like the 2nd book was kind of a build-up book for the 3rd one. The 3rd one is my favourite, so I'm hoping the 6th one is going to be just as amazing. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I'm just so excited for the 6th book now. So the next book is a book that I've been wanting to read for like forever, and that is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I can't even express how much I love this. Like, it was so amazing. Firstly, the premise of the story is just freaking amazing. Like, it's a fairy tale retelling of Cinderella, and Cinder, which is Cinderella, is a cyborg. Like, yeah, and it's set in the future, and it just follows Cinderella, the Cinderella story, and there are a bunch of other elements. I'm so bad at explaining this, it's kind of complicated, but yeah. I love this so much. I thought that Cinder was an amazing character. I thought that she was very realistic and still wonderful. Like, so she was just amazing. I can't wait to read the rest of the series. I don't own the 2nd and the 3rd book, but I might get them soon because this was so good. I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads because there was one thing that I had problems with the story. I think that Marissa Meyer is brilliant at crafting stories. She's brilliant at making believable characters, but I didn't think that her writing was really that beautiful. I struggled to find quotes that I liked in this book. Like, I have a book where I write down quotes from every book that I read, and I really struggled finding a quote from this book. So that's why it ended up being a 4 out of 5 stars for me. The next book I decided to read was a classic. I love reading classics, but I did struggle with this one, and it is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This is his only novel, and I've been wanting to read this for a really long time, and I finally decided that it was time. I did like it, I really did, but I struggled with the first 70 pages. It took me about 2 weeks to read the first 70 pages, which is so bad. But eventually I really got into it, and the last 150 pages I absolutely flew through, and I did like it. If you don't know what The Picture of Dorian Gray is about, it is about a man called Dorian Gray who has a painting made of himself and he is told that he is so beautiful, and he wishes that he won't age, but that the painting will age instead. It turns out that Dorian Gray is a very evil and selfish man, and the picture, which then ages instead of him, becomes his greatest secret, and he hides it away. Oscar Wilde's writing is just absolutely amazing. I love the themes of this. Like, one of my favourite themes to read is like the cruelty in humans, and like how we're actually really evil. I really love that theme and message in books, especially in classics, and I think it was done really, really well by Oscar Wilde here. If you want to read some 19th century literature, then I think that The Picture of Dorian Gray is a fantastic place to start. Next up, I decided to read a book that I read when I was younger. This is a Nancy Drew book, but I read it in Swedish, so in Swedish it's called Kitty. and I believe this is called The Secret of Shadow Ranch in English. I'm not sure though. It's written by Caroline Keane, by the way. I quite enjoy this. It was kind of like reminiscing of my childhood because I used to read these so much and I just wanted to pick it up again. I ended up giving this 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I had many issues with it. I thought that the plot was very predictable. I also thought that, like Nancy, she was very not likeable for me because she's kind of the perfect girl. She's good at everything. Of course, when she comes to the ranch, she's already absolutely amazing at horse riding, and she can shoot a gun, and yeah, that just, I don't like characters that are absolutely perfect. But I'm definitely gonna keep reading some Nancy Drew books and see if I like the other ones better. The next book that I picked up was The Scorch Trials by James Dashner. I read The Maze Runner this summer, or I listened to it on audiobook actually, because I didn't know if I wanted to buy the books, but I quite liked that one. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, so I thought that I will definitely continue with the series. I ended up buying The Scorch Trials in paperback. I thought that I would just buy the cheapest ones and well, maybe I'll get hardcover if I like them a lot. But just look at this edition. Isn't this absolutely gorgeous? It's like a metallic kind of finish, and these Scorch Trials, like the text, has like a desert ground sort of finish. I think that is so gorgeous, so I'm definitely going to get the rest of the books in this edition. I enjoyed this so much. I didn't anticipate that I would enjoy it as much as I did. It's definitely not a perfect book. It has its flaws, but I actually ended up giving it 5 out of 5 stars because of how much I enjoyed it while I was reading it. I read this in 24 hours, which is pretty good for me. If you've read The Maze Runner and you're not sure if you want to continue with the series, then I think that you should, because it gets a lot better. I thought that The Scorch Trials was just such a good book, and I'm really excited now to pick up The Death Cure. It's on the way to me. I've ordered it. It'll get here maybe this week, hopefully. The final book that I managed to read in October was another classic, and that was Canary Row by John Steinbeck. Can we just talk about this edition for a moment? Oh my god, isn't this absolutely gorgeous? Just look at that. Oh my god. And it has the blue pages. This is one of the Penguin drop caps. I absolutely love John Steinbeck's writing. I've previously read Of Mice and Men and loved it, and I was expecting to really enjoy this one as well, which I did, but not as much as Of Mice and Men. Canary Row, it doesn't really have a plot. It's a very character-driven story. It revolves around a few characters in a community. I think it's a street, Canary Row, or maybe just like an area. I can't quite remember, but anyway, you get to see kind of a certain amount of time in these characters' lives, and it's set during the Depression in America, and it was just a really interesting character study, I thought. But I think that it kind of lacked, since it didn't really have a plot, it kind of lacked a point in a way. I didn't feel like there was a message to the book, and it kind of left me wanting more, you know. But I really love the characters. I think John Steinbeck is such an amazing writer. Like he writes such amazing realistic characters, and I found myself just breathtaking from some of the writing, like so beautiful. Needless to say, I did not struggle with finding a quote in this one. I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. So yeah, that's all the books that I read in October. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.